Today, remember this. You were never just a casual observer of the events happening around you. You're always actively interpreting, whether you realize it or not, whether you mean to or not. I don't mean this in some grand philosophical way. I mean it very literally. A huge amount of what I refer to as reality is actually the cold, hard facts of what's happening with my own interpretation layered on top. Sometimes it can be really easy for me to spot that I'm doing this, especially with text-based communication. It's that classic experience of sending a text to someone and putting a lol on the end, all the while staring blankly at my phone with the emotional intensity of a damp sponge, definitely not laughing out loud. But when I get a text from somebody that has a lol in it, I automatically, without thinking, assign a lot of context, warmth, humor, maybe even actual laughter. When I think about it in this way, interpretation starts to feel a little bit like punctuation. The underlying words, the events, certainly still matter a ton, but the interpretation, the punctuation on top, can totally change the meaning. People have been arguing about commas for centuries. Entire legal cases have hinged upon them. And the very best plot twist in my favorite British murder mystery series all came down to a disappearing comma. So, given all that, it's maybe not so surprising that the punctuation of our lives, our interpretations, also matter a lot too. Just how much context can matter was made especially clear to me in a recent situation I was in where I accidentally removed all the context without realizing it. I was waiting at an airport gate for a delayed flight, and sitting across from me was what I was absolutely certain was a couple having a fairly intense argument. Now, to be clear, I was listening to a podcast on some noise cancelling headphones, so I couldn't actually hear a single word that they said. But that didn't stop me. I was absolutely certain from their expressions, their body language, their gesturing, exactly what was happening here. I became kind of embarrassingly invested in this couple. It was clear that she had done something that had hurt him and he wasn't having it, but she wasn't backing down. I got their dynamic, and I basically felt ready to intervene as their couples therapist. This went on for 10, 15 minutes, and then I'm not proud of this, but I just had to know what was going on with this couple. So I took my headphones off, and it became immediately clear that they were not a couple, they were not fighting, and that they weren't speaking English. I think they were speaking Italian. My whole story collapsed in about 3 seconds flat. The funny thing is, nothing had actually changed about what was happening, just my experience, my interpretation. But along with it, my whole reality felt like it changed. It was like being in a hall of mirrors where 1 minute things look one way and then all of a sudden things snap to looking totally different. So, lesson learned. I shouldn't so confidently layer my own interpretations on top of reality. And maybe I should be slightly less nosy in airports. The really nice thing is, though, that we can use this tendency to our benefit. Because more often than not, we don't really get to choose anything about what happens to us. But sometimes we can have more influence over the meaning that we attach to what does. Not unlimited influence, certainly, but maybe enough to matter. So these days, whenever I'm upset about something, I'm trying to ask myself one more question. What story am I telling myself about this? It's not because I think my current interpretation is necessarily wrong. or because I think that I'm mentally powerful enough to talk myself into any reality that I choose, but just because it's so easy to forget that there's an interpretation happening there at all. So, today, remember this: you are always observing, but you're also always interpreting, and those are not the same thing. A question to take with you: what's one story that you've been telling yourself in your life that might possibly have a different explanation? Talk soon.